May I speak with you for a moment? In quietness, in truth. I come to you not as one who stands above, but as one who has walked through the veil between what is seen and what is felt. For more than 40 years, I have closed my eyes to this world and opened them to another. A place where time moves differently, where the future casts its shadow backward into our present moment, where the souls of men and women reveal their deepest longings and their forgotten wounds. I have witnessed patterns repeating across thousands of lives, symbols emerging from the collective dream of humanity, and I have learned this: nothing that arrives in your awareness arrives by accident. If you are hearing these words now, in this particular moment of your life, there is a reason. Perhaps you have felt it. A quickening in your chest, a sense that the world is shifting beneath your feet faster than you can name. Perhaps you have noticed that the predictions spoken of in whispers, the warnings given in symbolism and parable, are no longer distant prophecies, but present realities unfolding in your own neighborhood, your own body, your own relationships. Perhaps you have felt simultaneously afraid and electrified, sensing that you are living through something that will be remembered, something that is both ending and beginning. I want you to know, you are not imagining this. What I'm about to share with you in the next hours will reorganize how you understand what is happening, not just in the external world of nations and economies and climate, but in the interior world of your own consciousness, your own purpose, your own soul's agreement with this extraordinary time. You will come to see that the acceleration you feel is not chaos. It is pattern. It is inevitability meeting choice. It is the convergence I spoke of decades ago, arriving now with a velocity that surprises even those who believed. This is not entertainment. This is not speculation. This is recognition. And because what I share here is not spoken in the common channels, because it moves beneath the surface of headlines and algorithms, I ask you something. If this resonates in your bones, if you sense you were meant to find this, subscribe to this space. Mark it as a place you return to. We are building something quiet and true here, a gathering of those who are willing to look deeper. And when we reach the end of this journey together, I will ask you to share a single moment from your own life in the comments. A moment when you knew something was coming before it arrived. I want to hear your voice. I want to know I am not speaking into emptiness. And if someone you love is searching, if they are feeling the tremors and have no language for it, send this to them. Not as prophecy, as companionship. Now, let us begin. There is a lake I have seen many times in the state between waking and sleeping. It is vast and still, reflecting a sky that holds both day and night in the same moment. At the center of this lake, there is a disturbance, a single ripple that grows, slowly at first, then faster, until the entire surface is in motion. The ripple does not come from a stone thrown by human hands. It comes from beneath, from the deep places, from the foundation. This is the image that returns to me when I speak of 2026. In 1934, I gave a reading, a trance state in which I accessed information beyond my waking consciousness. And I described a sequence of earth changes that would culminate in a period of transition so profound that the maps of the world, both literal and symbolic, would have to be redrawn. I spoke of shifts in the physical crust of the planet. I spoke of disruptions in the magnetic field. I spoke of the awakening of volcanoes long considered dormant and the redistribution of water across continents. But more than this, far more than this, I spoke of a shift in human consciousness, a moment when the old structures of power, belief, and identity would crack open, and something new, something ancient and forgotten would emerge. I placed markers. I gave years. Some have come to pass with eerie precision. Others have been misunderstood, their meaning obscured by those who sought spectacle rather than truth. But 2026 was always a threshold year in the pattern. A year when the acceleration I described would become undeniable. A year when the veil between the worlds would thin, not for mystics alone, but for every person willing to see. And here we are. It is arriving faster than even I, in my most vivid trances, anticipated. The timeline has compressed. The spiral has tightened. What was meant to unfold gradually is now erupting with urgency. And if you are paying attention, if you are truly paying attention, you can feel it in your body. You can feel it in the way time itself seems elastic, how months pass like weeks, how the distance between cause and effect has shortened, how synchronicities arrive in clusters, how the mask of normalcy is slipping from the face of civilization. Let me be clear. This is not about fear. Fear is the response of the small self, the ego that believes it is separate, that believes it can control outcomes through worry. What I am inviting you into is awareness. Awareness is the domain of the soul, which knows it is part of a larger design, which trusts that even upheaval serves awakening. But awareness requires courage. It requires you to look at what is uncomfortable. And so I ask you now, before we go further, are you willing to see? Are you willing to release the need for the world to remain as it was? Are you willing to consider that the disruption you are witnessing is not punishment, but initiation? If you are still here, the answer is yes. Let us begin with the earth itself. For the earth is not separate from us. It is not a stage upon which we act. It is a living consciousness, a being with rhythms and moods and thresholds of tolerance. In my readings, I have always returned to this truth. The earth responds to the consciousness of humanity. When humanity is in balance, the earth is in balance. When humanity is in conflict, confusion, greed, separation, the earth reflects this, not as punishment, as response, as feedback. For years, I have spoken of the physical pole shifts, the changing of the Earth's axis, the warming of certain regions and the cooling of others, the rising of ancient lands and the submersion of coastal cities. These are not metaphors. They are literal possibilities within the spectrum of outcomes I have witnessed. But they are not inevitable in the way a train is inevitable when it is already on the tracks. They are probable, and probability bends toward the choices we make collectively. In recent months, there has been an acceleration in seismic activity. Earthquakes in regions that were stable, volcanic eruptions that were unscheduled, changes in ocean currents that affect weather patterns across the globe. Scientists observe these phenomena and speak of tectonic stress, climate feedback loops, natural cycles. And they are correct. But they are looking at the symptom, not the source. The source is consciousness. When the collective human field is filled with fear, anger, division, and desperation, the earth absorbs this. It holds it in its magnetic field, in its waters, in its tectonic plates. And when the charge becomes too great, it must discharge, it must release. This is not mysticism, this is energetics. Everything is frequency, everything is vibration. And what humanity has been broadcasting, amplified by technology, by media, by the architecture of our modern systems, is a frequency of chaos. The earth is responding. But here is what the fear-driven narratives will not tell you. The earth is also compassionate. It does not seek to destroy us. It seeks to rebalance. And if we participate consciously in that rebalancing, if we shift our own inner frequencies from fear to coherence, from separation to unity, from grasping to allowing, we change the equation. We alter the outcome. This is not wishful thinking. This is physics at the subtle level. This is the principle of entrainment, where one vibrating system influences another until they synchronize. Your heart, your mind, your nervous system. These are broadcasting stations. And when enough of us broadcast coherence, the earth entrains to that. It does not mean the changes stop. It means they become transformational rather than catastrophic. It means we move through the transition with grace rather than violence. Do you feel the weight of that? Do you feel the responsibility and the invitation it contains? I know some of you are thinking, but Edgar, I am one person. How can my inner state affect earthquakes, affect storms, affect the fate of nations? And I say to you, you are not one person. You are a node in the web of consciousness. You are a cell in the body of humanity, and the coherence of one cell affects the organ, and the coherence of one organ affects the body. You have been taught to see yourself as isolated, powerless, insignificant. This is the great lie. This is the spell that must be broken. In ancient teachings, teachings that predate our modern religions, that emerge from Egypt, from Atlantis, from the mystery schools I have accessed in trance, there is an understanding that humanity and Earth are one being. The microcosm and the macrocosm. As above, so below. As within, so without. When the inner world is turbulent, the outer world reflects turbulence. When the inner world finds stillness, even amidst chaos, the outer world finds pockets of grace, islands of sanity, refuges of beauty. This is why my predictions have always been conditional. This is why I have never said, this will happen on this date with absolute certainty. Because the future is not fixed. The future is a field of potentials. And which potential becomes actual depends on the choices, the millions of small choices made by conscious beings. You are one of those beings. And your choices matter more now than ever before, because we are at a point of maximum leverage in the timeline. Let me pause here and ask you something. If you are feeling this, if something in your chest is opening, stay with me. We are going somewhere together, and I promise you, by the end of this, you will understand not just what is happening, but why you are here to witness it. Why your soul chose this incarnation, this moment, this threshold. Do not leave yet. The most important insights are still ahead. Now, let us speak of time itself. For time is not what you think it is. In the waking world, you experience time as linear, a straight line moving from past through present into future. This is useful for organizing your daily life, for meeting appointments, for aging in a body. But it is not the deeper truth of time. In the state of trance, in the space between the worlds, time reveals itself as simultaneous. All moments exist at once. The past is not gone, it is still occurring in another layer of reality. The future is not yet to come, it is already occurring in another layer of reality. And the present, the eternal now, is the meeting point, the nexus where all timelines converge. This is how I have been able to access information about events that had not yet occurred in your linear experience. I am not seeing the future. I am seeing the now of the future, which already exists as a pattern, as a probability wave, waiting to collapse into your experience. And what I have witnessed is this. There are timelines where humanity navigates this transition with wisdom, with cooperation, with humility. And there are timelines where humanity resists, fractures, descends into conflict and suffering. Both exist. Both are real. Which one you experience depends on which one you align with through your consciousness, through your choices, through your frequency. 2026 is a convergence point. It is a moment when multiple timelines that have been running parallel begin to diverge sharply. It is the fork in the road. And the velocity of events is increasing because we are approaching that fork. The pressure is building. The contrast is sharpening. Light and shadow are becoming more distinct. You can see this, yes, in your own life, in your relationships, in your communities, in the world stage. The divisions are more pronounced. The choices are more stark. The masks are falling away. And what was hidden is being revealed. This is acceleration. This is the quickening I spoke of. And it is happening faster than I expected because, and this is crucial, because enough souls have incarnated at this time with the specific purpose of catalyzing this shift. You may be one of them. In fact, if you are still listening, you almost certainly are. There are souls who come to Earth during stable times to learn slow lessons, to build foundations, to experience the rhythms of peace and continuity. And there are souls who come during times of upheaval because they carry within them a frequency that is needed for transition. They are the bridges. They are the anchors. They are the ones who have incarnated again and again through great changes, through the fall of Atlantis, through the collapse of civilizations, through wars and plagues and renaissances. And they know, at a soul level, how to navigate the passage. If you have felt different your entire life, if you have felt you were waiting for something, if you have felt out of sync with the dominant culture, if you have been drawn to the mysteries, to the questions beneath the questions, to the invisible architecture of reality, it is because you are one of these souls. And you are waking up now because it is time. Because the moment you agreed to serve has arrived. I see some of you still doubting. I see some of you thinking, but I do not feel powerful. I do not feel chosen. I feel confused, tired, overwhelmed. And I say to you, this is normal. This is part of the initiation. You are not meant to feel certain in the way the ego wants certainty. You are meant to feel the groundlessness, the dissolution of the old identity, the stripping away of what you thought you were, so that what you truly are can emerge. In the mystery traditions, this is called the descent. The hero must go into the underworld. The initiate must face the darkness. The seed must be buried in the earth before it can sprout. You are in the burial phase. And it feels like death because, in a sense, it is. The death of illusion. The death of the false self. The death of the story you told yourself about who you were and what your life was supposed to be. But on the other side of this death is resurrection. On the other side is clarity. On the other side is the activation of gifts you did not know you carried. And you do carry them. Every person listening to this carries something the world needs right now. A specific medicine, a specific frequency, a specific piece of the puzzle. You may not know what it is yet. That is fine. You do not need to know. You only need to say yes to the unfolding. Are you beginning to see? Are you beginning to feel the shape of what I am describing? Let us go deeper now. Let us speak of the systems that are crumbling and what they are making way for. In my readings, I have described the fall of economic structures that are built on debt, on exploitation, on the illusion of endless growth within a finite system. I have described the collapse of institutions that derive their authority from fear, from control, from the separation of people into hierarchies of worth. I have described the end of belief systems that place God outside of creation, that split spirit from matter, that teach humanity to distrust its own inner knowing. These systems are crumbling now. You see it, yes? The banks that seemed invincible reveal themselves as houses of cards. The governments that claimed legitimacy reveal themselves as serving interests far removed from the common good. The religions that claimed absolute truth reveal themselves as human constructs, often corrupted by power. The media that claimed objectivity reveals itself as narrative engineering. The medicine that claimed to heal reveals itself as often causing harm. The education that claimed to enlighten reveals itself as indoctrination. I am not saying there is no truth anywhere in these systems. I am saying the structures themselves are no longer viable because they were built on foundations of separation, and we are entering an age of unity. They were built on foundations of control, and we are entering an age of co-creation. They were built on foundations of scarcity, and we are remembering that we live in an abundant universe. The speed at which these structures are destabilizing is what makes 2026 such a significant marker. In the timeline I accessed, this was the year when the critical mass would be reached, when enough people would lose faith in the old systems that new systems could emerge, not imposed from above, but grown from below, not centralized, but distributed, not based on domination, but on cooperation. But here is the paradox. The new cannot be built until the old has sufficiently broken down. And so, what you are witnessing, the chaos, the uncertainty, the seeming madness, is necessary. It is the composting of the old forms so that new life can grow. If you try to stop it, you will suffer. If you try to hold on to what is dissolving, you will be pulled under. But if you can find a way to let go, to trust the process, to participate in the breakdown as consciously as you can, you will discover that you are not a victim of this change. You are a midwife to it. I know this is difficult. I know it is terrifying to watch the familiar world disappear. But remember, you are a soul. You are not your bank account, your job title, your political identity, your national identity, your religious identity. Those are costumes. Those are roles. And when the theater is burning down, you do not mourn the costumes. You step out of character and remember who you really are. Who are you really? This is the question the acceleration is forcing everyone to confront. And the answer cannot be found in the external world, because the external world is in flux. The answer can only be found in the interior world, in the silence beneath thought, in the presence beneath emotion, in the awareness that witnesses it all. This is why I have always taught that the true work is inner work. This is why I have always said that meditation, prayer, contemplation, self-inquiry, these are not luxuries, they are necessities. They are how you stabilize your consciousness when everything around you is unstable. They are how you access the part of you that is eternal, that is unshakable, that has been through this before and knows the way through. And if you have not yet developed a practice of inner stillness, now is the time to begin. Not because I say so, but because without it, you will be swept away by the tides of collective panic. You will be reactive, fragmented, lost. But with it, you will be a lighthouse. You will be a point of coherence in a field of chaos. And others will be drawn to you, not because you have answers, but because you have presence. Let me share something with you now, something that few understand about the nature of prophecy and prediction. When I give a reading, when I access information about future events, I'm not reading a fixed script. I am reading the momentum of current patterns. I'm seeing where the river is flowing based on the direction and speed of the current. But rivers can change course. Obstacles can appear. New tributaries can form. And so the predictions are always probabilities, not certainties. The reason my 2026 prediction is coming true faster than expected is because the momentum has increased. The current has accelerated. Why? Because the collective unconscious of humanity is waking up. More people are asking questions. More people are rejecting the narratives they were taught. More people are seeking truth, seeking meaning, seeking connection. And this waking up, this great awakening, as some call it, is destabilizing the old systems faster than they can adapt. This is good news. It means consciousness is rising. It means the sleepers are stirring. But it also means turbulence. Because when a system is challenged, it fights back. When a power structure is threatened, it tightens its grip. When an illusion is exposed, it tries to reassert itself with greater force. And so you are seeing in real time both the awakening and the resistance to the awakening. Both the emergence of new possibilities and the desperate clinging to old forms. This is the tension of the birth canal. This is the moment when the baby is crowning. It is the most painful part, but it is also the moment just before emergence. And if you can hold the tension, if you can stay present with the discomfort, if you can trust that something new is coming, you will be astonished by what arrives. Now, let me address something directly. Some of you are wondering about specific predictions. You want to know, will there be economic collapse? Will there be war? Will there be earth changes in specific locations? Will there be a pole shift? And I understand the desire for specificity. The human mind craves certainty. It wants to prepare, to protect, to plan. But I will tell you this. If I give you specific dates and locations, I do two things. First, I feed the fear that is already present. I give the mind something to worry about, and worry is a low-frequency state that actually attracts difficulty. Second, I remove your agency. I make it seem as though the future is fixed, and you are powerless, and nothing could be further from the truth. What I can tell you is this: there will be disruptions. There will be shocks. There will be moments when the systems you rely on do not function as they have before. There will be economic volatility. There will be political instability. There will be natural events that seem extreme and unprecedented. And these things are already happening. You are already living through the early stages of what I described. But the severity, the scale, the impact, these are still variable. These still depend on consciousness. And this is why I keep returning to the same message. Your inner work is the most important work. Your ability to remain centered, to respond rather than react, to hold a vision of a positive outcome even when circumstances suggest otherwise, this is what shifts the timeline. This is what bends probability toward grace. I want to remind you of something now. Do not turn away. Do not leave this space because it feels heavy. Stay with me. We are moving through the dark forest together, but there is a clearing ahead. And what you will discover in that clearing is more beautiful than you can imagine. Keep walking. Keep listening. Let us speak now about technology and the role it is playing in this acceleration. In my readings, I have seen both the potential and the peril of human innovation. Technology is neutral. It is a tool. It amplifies intention. If used with wisdom and compassion, it can heal, connect, uplift. If used with ignorance and greed, it can harm, divide, enslave. In recent years, you have witnessed the rise of artificial intelligence, the expansion of surveillance systems, the manipulation of information through digital platforms, the colonization of attention, the erosion of privacy. These are not accidents. These are the logical outcomes of a consciousness that sees technology as separate from nature, as a means of control rather than a means of harmony. But here is what is also true. Technology is forcing transparency. It is making it impossible to hide. Secrets are being revealed. Corruption is being exposed. The machinery of manipulation is becoming visible. And this visibility is part of the awakening. You cannot change what you cannot see. And now we are seeing. At the same time, technology is connecting those who are resonant. It is allowing communities of consciousness to form across distances that would have once been insurmountable. You and I, right now, are connected through technology. You are hearing my voice, or rather words that carry my essence, through a medium that did not exist in my physical lifetime. And this is a kind of miracle. This is technology in service of awakening. So the question is not whether technology is good or bad. The question is, how will we use it? Will we allow it to further fragment us, to further distract us, to further separate us from the natural world and from each other? Or will we reclaim it, redirect it, infuse it with consciousness, and use it to build networks of support, to share wisdom, to coordinate healing? This is another choice point. And it is part of why 2026 is so significant. Because the trajectory of technology is reaching an inflection point. The tools being developed now will either help humanity transition into a new paradigm, or they will be weaponized to prevent that transition. Both are possible. Both are in motion. And which one prevails depends, again, on consciousness. I am not asking you to reject technology. I am asking you to be conscious with it, to notice how it affects your nervous system, to notice how it shapes your perception, to notice how it influences your choices, and to use it intentionally as a servant rather than a master. And here is a practice. For every hour you spend consuming information through screens, spend at least a few minutes in silence, in nature, in direct contact with the physical world. Let your nervous system recalibrate. Let your perception clear. Let your soul remember what is real. Because there is a danger in this time, a danger I must name clearly, of becoming lost in the virtual, in the simulated, in the abstracted. There is a danger of mistaking the map for the territory, the symbol for the reality, the narrative for the truth. And when this happens, you become vulnerable to manipulation. You become disembodied. You become a ghost haunting the machine. Do not let this happen. Stay rooted. Stay embodied. Feel your feet on the earth. Feel your breath moving in and out. Feel the pulse of your heart. This is real. This is primary. Everything else is secondary. Now, I want to speak about something that may surprise you. I want to speak about joy. Yes, joy. In the midst of all this upheaval, in the midst of all this uncertainty, there is an invitation to joy. Not the cheap joy of distraction, not the brittle joy of denial, but the deep joy of participation, the joy of being alive during an extraordinary moment, the joy of witnessing the end of an age and the birth of another, the joy of discovering that you are more resilient, more creative, more courageous than you knew. There is a teaching from the ancient traditions that says, the soul chooses difficult incarnations not as punishment, but as opportunity. The soul seeks challenge because challenge is the forge in which character is refined, in which gifts are activated, in which the illusion of separation is burned away and the truth of unity is revealed. If this is true, and I believe it is, then you are here by choice. You chose this time. You chose this body. You chose these circumstances. Not because you are a masochist, but because you are a warrior of consciousness. And the battlefield you chose is the transition from the age of separation to the age of unity. Does this change how you feel about what is happening? Does this shift your perspective from victim to participant, from powerless to empowered? I hope so. Because the story you tell yourself about what is happening determines how you move through it. If you tell yourself a story of doom, of collapse, of endings without beginnings, you will experience despair. But if you tell yourself a story of transformation, of death and rebirth, of the great turning, you will experience awe. And awe is a high-frequency state. Awe is healing. Awe is magnetic. Awe attracts miracles. So let me offer you a reframe. What if everything that is falling apart because it was never truly solid? What if everything that is being revealed as corrupt was always corrupt, and now you are simply seeing clearly? What if everything that is accelerating to bring you to this moment, right here, right now, where you have the opportunity to choose consciously, deliberately, courageously who you want to be and what you want to contribute? This is not a passive moment. This is an active moment. This is a moment that demands your full presence. And if you can rise to meet it, if you can show up with all of you, your gifts, your wounds, your questions, your love, you will discover that you are part of something vast and sacred. Let us talk now about community, for you cannot navigate this alone. In my readings, I have always emphasized the importance of gathering, not in the old structures of institution and hierarchy, but in the new patterns of circle and network. Small groups of people who trust each other, who support each other, who share resources and skills and wisdom. Communities of practice, communities of resilience, communities of consciousness. If you do not yet have this, if you are isolated, if you are alone, this is your task. Find your people. Seek out those who are awake, who are questioning, who are willing to look beyond the surface. They are out there. They are everywhere. And when you find them, do not perform. Do not pretend to be further along than you are. Show up as you are. Vulnerable, honest, real. This is how trust is built. This is how true community forms. And if you already have this, if you are part of a circle, a group, a network, deepen it. Do not let it remain superficial. Go beyond pleasantries. Ask the hard questions. Share the deep fears. Hold space for each other's unraveling. This is the work. This is how we weave the new fabric of society from the threads of authentic relationship. Because the systems are crumbling, and when they crumble, we will need each other. Not in some far-off future. Now. We already need each other. We already need to practice the skills of mutual aid, of cooperation, of seeing each other as family rather than strangers. This is not idealism. This is pragmatism. This is survival. But more than survival, this is thriving. This is how we build the world we want to inhabit. And let me say this clearly. Do not wait for permission from authorities. Do not wait for some external leader to tell you it is time to organize. You are the authority. You are the leader. In your own life, in your own sphere, you have the power to create, to connect, to catalyze. Use it. I know some of you are thinking, but Edgar, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what is coming. I'm afraid of losing what I have. I am afraid of the unknown. And I say to you, fear is natural. Fear is a signal.
But fear is not a guide. Do not let fear make your decisions. Acknowledge it. Feel it in your body. Give it space. But do not let it paralyze you. Do not let it close your heart. Do not let it convince you to isolate, to hoard, to attack. Fear constricts. Love expands. And in times of upheaval, the choice between constriction and expansion is the choice between suffering and transformation. Choose expansion. Choose love. Choose again and again, moment by moment, breath by breath. And love does not mean passivity. Love does not mean accepting harm. Love can be fierce. Love can set boundaries. Love can say no. Love can resist what is unjust. But it does so from a place of connection, not separation. It does so from a place of recognizing the humanity in the other, even when opposing the actions of the other. This is the maturity we are being called to. This is the wisdom of the new age. Not naive positivity, not spiritual bypassing, but grounded, embodied, clear-eyed love that is willing to face the darkness without becoming the darkness. Are you with me still? Are you feeling the texture of what I am describing? I hope so, because we are approaching something important now, something that will tie everything together. Let us speak of the Great Alignment. In esoteric traditions, there is an understanding that the cosmos moves in cycles. The ancient Egyptians knew this. The Maya knew this. The Vedic seers knew this. And these cycles are not arbitrary. They are linked to the precession of the equinoxes, to the movement of our solar system through the galaxy, to the opening and closing of portals of consciousness. We are exiting the age of Pisces and entering the age of Aquarius. This is not astrological whimsy. This is astronomy. And each age brings with it a different frequency, a different lesson, a different invitation for humanity. Pisces was the age of faith, of belief, of following the savior, the guru, the external authority. Aquarius is the age of knowing, of direct experience, of recognizing the divine within each individual and within the collective. The transition between ages is always turbulent. It is the twilight zone where the old rules no longer apply and the new rules have not yet been established. It is the liminal space. And we are in it now, fully, deeply, undeniably. But there is also a planetary alignment occurring, a literal alignment of cosmic forces that amplifies the energies of change. I have seen this in vision. I have felt this in trance. And 2026 is when this alignment reaches a peak. It is when the gravitational and magnetic influences of the outer planets create a window, a portal, through which new frequencies can enter the Earth's field. This is not disaster. This is opportunity. This is the universe saying, here is a moment of maximum potential for transformation. Use it. Choose it. Step through it. But the energies that are available during such alignments are neutral. They amplify. If humanity is in a state of fear and chaos, these energies will amplify that. If humanity is in a state of coherence and vision, these energies will amplify that. And so, once again, it comes back to consciousness. It comes back to you. It comes back to the choices you make in your own heart and mind and body. You are not a passive recipient of cosmic forces. You are a co-creator with them. You are part of the orchestra. And the note you play, the frequency you hold, matters.
I realize this may sound abstract, so let me make it practical. What does it mean to hold a coherent frequency during a time of chaos? It means you take care of your body. You sleep. You eat real food. You move. You do not poison yourself with substances that numb you or fragment you. Your body is the instrument through which consciousness expresses in the physical world. Treat it with respect. It means you take care of your mind. You are discerning about what you consume. You do not mainline fear from news sources. You do not drown in the opinions of others. You cultivate silence. You read wisdom. You contemplate beauty. You ask yourself, is this thought serving me? Is this belief true? It means you take care of your heart. You feel your feelings. You do not suppress, but you also do not indulge. You allow emotions to move through you like weather. You forgive, not because others deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. You love, not because it is safe, but because it is your nature. It means you take care of your spirit. You connect with something larger than yourself. You pray. You meditate. You walk in nature. You create. You give thanks. You remember that you are not alone, that you are held, that you are guided. These are not luxuries. These are the foundations of coherence. And when you are coherent, you do not add to the chaos. You become a stabilizing force. You become part of the solution. Now, let me tell you something that may be difficult to hear. There will be losses. There will be things you thought were permanent that will dissolve. There will be people you thought would be with you forever who will leave. There will be identities you clung to that will be stripped away. There will be moments when you feel you have lost everything. This is part of the initiation. This is part of the descent I spoke of earlier. And it is necessary. Because you are being emptied so that you can be filled with something new. You are being broken open so that more light can enter. You are being undone so that you can be remade in a form that is aligned with the new age. I know it hurts. I know it is disorienting. But on the other side, and I have seen the other side in my visions, there is a clarity, a lightness, a joy that is not dependent on external circumstances. There is a version of you that is free, that is creative, that is alive in ways you have forgotten are possible. And that version is waiting for you to surrender the old so that it can emerge. So when the losses come, and they will come, do not close, do not harden, do not retreat into bitterness or cynicism. Grieve, rage, weep, but stay open, stay tender, stay curious. Ask, what is this making space for? What is wanting to be born through me? And trust that the universe is not cruel. The universe is kind in a way that the human mind cannot always comprehend. The universe gives you what you need, not what you want. And what you need is to become who you truly are. And sometimes that requires everything you are not to be burned away. This is alchemy. This is transformation. This is the great work. Before I continue, I want to pause and ask you something. Have you shared this yet? Have you sent it to someone who needs to hear it? Think of one person, just one, who is struggling right now, who is feeling the acceleration,
who is searching for meaning. Send this to them, not to convert them, not to convince them, but to let them know they are not alone, that others are navigating this too, that there is a perspective that includes both the difficulty and the possibility. This is an act of love. This is how we build the network of consciousness. Do it now, if you feel called, and then come back. I will be here. Let us speak now about prophecy and free will, because there is a paradox here that must be understood. I have access, in trance, to timelines. I see probable futures. I see the patterns that are in motion, and I report what I see. But I do not control outcomes, and neither does any prophet, any seer, any oracle. We are witnesses, we are translators, we are messengers, but we are not authors of fate. Fate and destiny are not the same thing. Destiny is the soul's purpose, the unique gift you came to offer, the lesson you came to learn. Destiny is what you are moving toward, but the path is not fixed. Fate, on the other hand, is the illusion that everything is predetermined, that you are a puppet, that free will is a myth. I reject this. I have always rejected this, because in every reading I have given, I have seen the power of choice. I have seen people alter their health, their relationships, their life trajectory through conscious decision-making. I have seen timelines shift because individuals changed their inner state. And so I say to you, the future is not written. The future is being written, and you are one of the authors. Yes, there are currents. Yes, there are patterns. Yes, there are cosmic influences. But within those parameters, there is infinite variation. There is room for miracles. There is room for grace. There is room for you to surprise even the most accurate prophet. So when I say the 2026 prediction is coming true faster than expected, I am not saying it is inevitable. I am saying it is accelerating. I am saying the momentum is strong. But momentum can be redirected. Momentum can be harnessed. And this is where your participation becomes critical. You are not here to just watch this unfold. You are here to shape it, not through force, not through manipulation, but through alignment, through becoming so clear, so coherent, so rooted in your truth that your very presence becomes a gravitational force that pulls others toward sanity, toward compassion, toward wisdom. This is the power of the individual in a time of collective transition. One person who is awake can affect thousands. One person who is coherent can shift the field. One person who refuses to participate in the insanity can become a beacon for others who are ready to step out of the trance. Are you that person? Are you willing to be that person? I believe you are. I believe that is why you are still here, still listening, still willing to go deeper. And so, I will go deeper still. Let me speak now about the shadow, both personal and collective. For the shadow is rising. You can see it, yes? The hatred, the cruelty, the violence, the division. It is being expressed in politics, in media, in communities, in families. And it is tempting to believe that this is evil, that there are evil people, evil forces, evil agendas. But I will tell you what I have seen in the deepest trances. There is no evil. There is only unconsciousness. There is only pain that has not been met, fear that has not been held, wounds that have not been healed. And when pain is unacknowledged, it expresses as destruction. When fear is unexamined, it expresses as aggression. When wounds are unhealed, they express as projection. The shadow is not the enemy. The shadow is the disowned parts of ourselves, individually and collectively. It is everything we have repressed, denied, rejected, exiled. And it does not disappear when we ignore it. It grows, it festers, and eventually, it erupts. We are in the eruption phase now. The collective shadow is spilling out into the open, and this is terrifying. But it is also necessary, because you cannot heal what you cannot see. And now we are seeing. We are seeing the depth of the woundedness. We are seeing the extent of the trauma. We are seeing the patterns of abuse, of exploitation, of disconnection that have been running beneath the surface of civilization for millennia. And the question is, how will we respond? Will we respond with more shadow? Will we demonize those who are acting out their pain? Will we split the world into good and evil, us and them? Or will we respond with consciousness? Will we recognize the shadow as shadow, not as identity? Will we hold space for healing, even for those who seem unforgivable? Will we refuse to participate in the cycles of vengeance and violence? This is not about being naive. This is not about tolerating harm. This is about seeing clearly. This is about understanding that hurt people, and that the only way to break the cycle is to bring consciousness to the wound. So when you encounter the shadow, in yourself, in others, in the world, pause, breathe, ask, what pain is this expressing? What fear is beneath this? What is asking to be healed? This is not a practice of excusing. This is a practice of understanding. And understanding is the beginning of transformation. And here is something crucial. Your own shadow work is your greatest contribution to the collective. When you face your own darkness, when you integrate your own disowned parts, when you stop projecting your fear onto others, you change the field. You reduce the charge. You make it easier for others to do the same. This is subtle. This is invisible. But it is powerful. Because consciousness is contagious. Healing is contagious. And when enough people do their inner work, the collective shadow loses its grip. It no longer has the fuel it needs to sustain itself. So I ask you, are you willing to look at your own shadow? Are you willing to admit that you are not only light? Are you willing to acknowledge the parts of you that are angry, jealous, petty, afraid, cruel? Not to indulge them, but to see them, to welcome them, to say, you are part of me, and I will not reject you. This is courage. This is maturity. This is the work of the soul. And as you do this work, you will notice something. You will become less reactive. You will become less triggered by others. You will become more spacious, more compassionate, more able to hold complexity. And this is what the world needs from you. Not your certainty, not your righteousness, not your perfection, your humanity, your wholeness. Let me share with you now a vision I had many years ago, a vision that has stayed with me and that feels especially relevant now. I saw a great tree. Its roots reached deep into the earth, into the dark places, the hidden places, the places of decay and decomposition. And its branches reached high into the sky, into the light,
into the realm of stars and spirit. And in the trunk, in the heart of the tree, there was a passage, a hollow space. And through this passage, the energy of the earth rose upward, and the energy of the sky descended downward. And they met, they merged, they became one. And I understood. This is the human being. We are the bridge between earth and heaven, between matter and spirit, between the underworld and the upper world. We are the meeting point. And our task is to allow the energy to flow through us, to not block it, to not grasp it, to not hoard it, but to let it circulate. When we do this, we become conduits. We become hollow bones, as some indigenous traditions say. We become flutes through which the breath of the divine can play its song. And the song is different for each person. Your song is unique. Your medicine is unique. Your contribution is unique. But the principle is the same. You must be open. You must be willing to serve as the passage. And this is what is happening now, in this time of acceleration. The energy is intensifying. The flow is increasing. And if you are blocked, if you are rigid, if you are clinging, if you are resisting, the pressure will be unbearable. You will feel overwhelmed, fragmented, lost. But if you are open, if you are flexible, if you are willing, if you are surrendered, you will feel alive, electric, aligned. You will feel that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you came to do. So the practice is this: open, again and again. When you notice yourself tightening, open. When you notice yourself closing, open. When you notice yourself grasping, open. Not with force, not with effort, but with awareness, with gentleness, with breath. Breath is the key. Breath is the rhythm of life. Breath is how energy moves. And when you consciously breathe, deep into the belly, slow and steady, you signal to your nervous system that it is safe, that you can relax, that you can trust. And from this place of trust, you can respond to whatever arises with wisdom rather than panic. I want to offer you a practice now. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, take a moment. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Close your eyes if you can. And breathe. In through the nose, deep into the body. Out through the mouth, releasing tension. Do this 3 times, slowly. And as you breathe, say to yourself, I am here. I am present. I am open. Feel the truth of it. Feel the ground beneath you. Feel the space around you. Feel the life force moving through you. This is how you anchor. This is how you stabilize. This is how you prepare for what is coming and what is already here. Now, let us speak about hope, because some of you may be wondering, Edgar, is there hope? Can we make it through this? Will humanity survive? And I say to you, yes, absolutely yes, but not without transformation, not without loss, not without labor. We are in the birth canal, as I said before, and birth is violent, birth is messy, birth is painful. But birth is also miraculous. And what is being born, the new human, the new society, the new consciousness, is worth the struggle. I have seen it. In my visions, I have seen communities living in harmony with the earth. I have seen technology used to heal rather than harm. I have seen children growing up without the traumas of separation, without the lies of scarcity, without the conditioning of fear. I have seen people working together, not in competition, but in collaboration, each offering their gifts,
each honored for their contribution.
I have seen a world where the sacred and the mundane are not split, where spirit infuses matter, where the divine is recognized in every face, every tree, every moment. This world is possible. It is not fantasy. It is potential. And it is waiting for us to choose it. Not someday. Now. With every decision we make, we are either moving toward that world or away from it. With every thought, every word, every action, we are either building that world or perpetuating the old one. So hope is not passive. Hope is not sitting back and waiting for someone else to fix things. Hope is active. Hope is creative. Hope is the decision to participate in the possibility of a better future, even when the present looks bleak. Hope is planting seeds in the midst of a storm, trusting that when the storm passes, something will grow. And you are the gardener. You are the one who plants the seeds. In your conversations, in your relationships, in your choices, in your heart. Plant seeds of kindness. Plant seeds of truth. Plant seeds of beauty. Plant seeds of connection. And do not worry about whether they will sprout. That is not your job. Your job is to plant. The earth will do the rest. I also want to speak to those of you who feel called to a specific mission, a specific purpose. You may not know exactly what it is yet, but you feel it stirring. You feel the restlessness, the urgency, the sense that you are meant for something, but you do not yet know what. I say to you, trust the stirring. Honor the restlessness. Do not rush to define it. Do not force it into a plan. Let it unfold organically. Let it reveal itself to you in pieces, in whispers, in synchronicities. Your job is not to figure it all out. Your job is to stay open, to stay curious, to follow the breadcrumbs. And when the clarity comes, and it will come, you will know. You will feel it in your bones. You will feel the rightness of it. And in that moment, you will have a choice. To step forward or to step back. To say yes or to say no. I cannot tell you what to choose, but I can tell you this. If you say yes, your life will change. It will no longer be about comfort, about security, about approval. It will be about service. It will be about contribution. It will be about becoming who you truly are and offering that to the world. And this is not a burden. This is a joy. This is a privilege, because there is nothing more fulfilling than living in alignment with your soul's purpose. There is nothing more satisfying than knowing you are using your gifts in service of something larger than yourself. There is nothing more meaningful than being part of the great turning, the great transition, the great awakening. So, if you feel the call, answer it. Do not let fear stop you. Do not let doubt silence you. Do not let the opinions of others derail you. You are here for a reason, and the world needs you. Not a polished, perfected, finalized version of you. You, as you are, right now, with all your questions and flaws and uncertainties. You are enough. You have always been enough. And you are needed. Let me address now something that some may find controversial. Let me speak about the role of suffering. In the spiritual traditions I have studied, and I have studied many, both in books and in trance states where I access ancient knowledge, there is a teaching that suffering is not meaningless. Suffering is a teacher. Suffering is a refiner. Suffering is the friction that polishes the soul. This does not mean we should seek suffering. This does not mean we should glorify suffering. This does not mean we should accept unnecessary suffering inflicted by injustice. But it does mean that when suffering arises, and it will arise, especially in times of great transition, we can choose to meet it consciously. We can choose to ask, what is this trying to teach me? What is this asking me to release? What is this inviting me to become? And when we meet suffering this way, it transforms. It is no longer just pain. It is initiation. It is no longer just loss. It is liberation. It is no longer just chaos. It is reorganization. This is the difference between suffering that breaks you and suffering that breaks you open. The suffering is the same. The consciousness you bring to it is different. And in this time, as systems collapse, as losses accumulate, as the pressure increases, many will suffer. And the question will be, will they suffer unconsciously, becoming bitter and hardened? Or will they suffer consciously, becoming wise and tender? You have a choice. Always you have a choice. Not about whether suffering comes, but about how you meet it when it does. And here is something I have observed. Those who have already walked through the fire, those who have already faced their own dark nights, those who have already been broken and rebuilt, these are the ones who will be most useful in the time ahead, because they know the terrain. They know that it is survivable. They know that there is something on the other side, and their presence will be a comfort and a guide for those who are walking through it for the first time. So if you have suffered, if you have known loss, trauma, illness, despair, do not think it was wasted. It was preparation. It was training. It was your soul getting ready for this moment, when your experience, your resilience, your hard-won wisdom will be needed by others. You are not damaged. You are seasoned. You are not broken. You are refined. And you have medicine to offer that only you can offer, because only you have walked your particular path. Now, I want to bring us back to the earth changes, because I know this is what many are most concerned about, the physical, tangible disruptions, the events that cannot be ignored. In the readings I have given, I have described a sequence of changes that would unfold over decades. Shifts in coastlines, changes in weather patterns, earthquakes in unexpected places, volcanic activity increasing. And I have said that these changes would be most intense in certain periods, certain years. And 2026 is one of those years. But let me be very clear. The purpose of these changes is not destruction. The purpose is rebalancing. The Earth is a living system, and it self-regulates. When one part becomes too hot, it redistributes heat. When one part becomes too dry, it redistributes water. When pressure builds in one area, it releases in another. This is natural. This is healthy. This is the Earth taking care of itself. The problem is that human civilization has been built on the assumption of stability. We have built cities in places that are geologically active. We have built infrastructure that depends on predictable weather. We have created supply chains that are fragile, that break when one link is disrupted. And so, when the Earth moves, when the weather changes, when the systems fail, we experience it as disaster. But the disaster is not the Earth's doing. The disaster is our lack of preparation, our lack of resilience, our lack of respect for the forces we are embedded within. And so the invitation now is to rebuild with wisdom, to create systems that are flexible, adaptable, decentralized, to live in ways that honor the Earth's rhythms rather than trying to dominate them, to relocate from vulnerable areas before we are forced to learn skills that do not depend on fragile infrastructure, to grow food,
to gather water, to shelter ourselves, to heal each other. This is not survivalism in the sense of fear and isolation. This is preparedness in the sense of responsibility and love. You prepare not because you expect the worst, but because you respect the reality of the situation. And you prepare in community, not alone. And here is something important. Preparation is not just physical. It is psychological and spiritual. If you have food but no peace of mind, you will not thrive. If you have shelter but no sense of purpose, you will not flourish. So prepare your inner world as much as your outer world. Build your resilience, cultivate your faith, strengthen your relationships. These are the true foundations of security. Let me now speak about children, because many of you are parents, or soon will be, or care for the young. And you are wondering, how do I protect them? How do I prepare them? How do I explain what is happening without terrifying them? And I say to you, children are more resilient than you think. Children are more aware than you think. They feel the energy of the times. They sense the uncertainty, and they are looking to you not for false reassurance, but for honest groundedness. So do not lie to them. Do not tell them everything is fine when it is not. But also do not burden them with details they cannot process. Meet them where they are. Use language they can understand. And most importantly, model for them what it looks like to navigate uncertainty with courage, with curiosity, with trust. Children learn by watching. If they see you panicking, they will panic. If they see you shutting down, they will shut down. But if they see you adapting, if they see you staying present, if they see you finding joy even in difficult circumstances, they will learn that this is possible. They will learn that they too can be resilient. And remember, the children being born now, the children who are young now, are different from previous generations. They are coming in with higher frequencies, with greater sensitivity, with a natural knowing of the unity that older generations have had to work to remember. They are here to help. They are here to lead. And your job is not to control them, but to support them, to give them the tools they need, to honor the wisdom they carry. So listen to them. Pay attention to what they say, what they draw, what they dream. They are receiving information from the field. They are tapped into the collective, and they have insights that may surprise you. And if you do not have children, if you are not called to parent, you can still serve the young. You can mentor, you can teach, you can create. You can build a world that is worthy of them. This is the work of the elder, and you are becoming an elder, whether you realize it or not. Not in age necessarily, but in consciousness. You are being asked to step into a role of responsibility, of stewardship, of guardianship, not over others, but with others, for the benefit of all. Are you willing? Are you ready? I believe you are. I believe this entire experience, this entire journey we have been on together for these hours, has been preparing you, opening you, reminding you of what you already know in your soul. Let us speak now of prayer. For prayer is not what you may think it is. Prayer is not begging. Prayer is not petition. Prayer is not trying to convince a distant God to intervene on your behalf. Prayer is alignment. Prayer is attuning your frequency to the frequency of the divine. Prayer is opening yourself to receive what is already being offered. And what is being offered is always the same: love, guidance, support, presence. But you must be open to receive it. You must be still enough to feel it.
You must be humble enough to admit you do not have all the answers and that you need help. This is not weakness. This is strength. This is the recognition that you are part of a vast web of consciousness and that you do not have to navigate this alone. There are forces, call them angels, guides, ancestors, higher self, universal intelligence, whatever name resonates for you, that are here to assist. But they respect your free will. They will not force themselves upon you. You must ask. You must invite. You must create the space. And the asking does not have to be elaborate. It does not have to be formal. It can be as simple as, help me, show me, guide me. I am open. And then, pay attention, because the response will come. Not always in the way you expect, not always in the form you prefer, but it will come. Through a conversation, through a book, through a dream, through a sudden knowing, through a synchronicity, through the words you are hearing right now. You are being guided. You have always been guided. And the more you acknowledge this, the more you trust this, the more evident it becomes. So make prayer a practice, not a ritual you perform out of obligation, but a living conversation with the mystery, a daily check-in, a moment of gratitude, a question you hold in your heart, a listening. And when you pray, do not only pray for yourself, pray for the world. Pray for those who are suffering. Pray for those who are unconscious. Pray for the earth. Pray for the children. Pray for the transition. Your prayers matter. They ripple out into the field. They add to the coherence. They shift the probability. This is not superstition. This is quantum mechanics. Intention affects reality. Consciousness collapses the wave function. You are a creator, and your prayers are creative acts. Let me share with you now one of the most important understandings I have gained from my work, from decades of trance states and readings and communications with the other side. There is no death. I know that to the physical senses, death appears real. The body stops. The person is gone. The loss is devastating. And I do not minimize grief. Grief is real. Grief is sacred. Grief is love with nowhere to go. But the consciousness, the soul, does not die. It transitions. It moves from one state of being to another, and in fact, it never fully leaves. It remains connected to those it loved, to the places it inhabited, to the purposes it served. The veil between the worlds is thin, and those who have passed are closer than you think. I have communicated with thousands of souls who have left their bodies, and the message is always the same. Do not mourn us as if we are lost. We are here. We are well. We are continuing our journey, and we are still with you in ways you may not always perceive, but that are nonetheless real. This does not mean you should not grieve. Grief is the price of love, and it is worth paying. But it does mean that death is not the end. It is a transition. It is a graduation. It is a return to the larger self. And in this time of great change, many will transition. Some through natural causes, some through accidents, some through violence, some through illness. And each transition serves the soul's growth and the collective evolution. This is not fatalism. This is trust in the larger pattern, the larger intelligence, the larger love that orchestrates all things. And for those who remain, the task is to honor those who have gone by living fully, by carrying forward their legacy, by completing what they began, by remembering that you too are temporary in this form, and that your time here is precious. So do not waste it. Do not live in numbness. Do not sleepwalk through your days. Wake up, show up, love fiercely, speak truth, create beauty, serve generously. Because this is what you came for. This is what they came for. This is what we all came for. Now, as we move toward the close of this transmission, I want to bring everything together. I want to give you a framework, a way of holding all of this. You are living through the end of an age and the beginning of another. This is the Great Turning, and it is happening faster than expected because consciousness is accelerating, because enough souls have awakened, because the patterns have reached critical mass. What you are witnessing is not random chaos. It is the breakdown of old structures that no longer serve, and the emergence of new patterns that are aligned with the next phase of human evolution. This breakdown will continue. It will intensify. It will touch every area of life: economic, political, environmental, social, personal. But within the breakdown is the invitation to break through. Within the collapse is the opportunity for creation. Within the ending is the seed of beginning. And you are here, incarnated in a body, at this specific moment, because your soul chose it, because you have gifts that are needed, because you have a frequency that serves, because you are part of the solution, not the problem. Your task is not to fix everything. Your task is not to save the world. Your task is to do your inner work, to become coherent, to hold a vision of the possible, and to offer your unique medicine in whatever form it takes. This is enough. This is more than enough. Because when enough individuals do this, the collective field shifts. And when the collective field shifts, reality reorganizes. And when reality reorganizes, what seemed impossible becomes inevitable. So do not despair. Do not collapse into hopelessness. Do not believe the narrative that it is too late, that nothing matters, that we are doomed. That is the voice of the wounded ego, the voice of the unhealed shadow, the voice of the old age trying to maintain control through fear. Listen instead to the voice of your soul, the voice that knows you are eternal, the voice that trusts the process, the voice that sees the beauty in the breakdown, the wisdom in the wound, the gift in the struggle. And surround yourself with others who are listening to that voice too. Build your circles, strengthen your networks, create your communities. Because the time of the isolated individual is over. The time of the collective is beginning. And the collective we build now, not through force but through resonance, will be the foundation of the new world. I'm going to ask you now to do something. I'm going to ask you to make a commitment. Not to me, to yourself, to your soul, to the future you want to inhabit. Commit to waking up each day and asking, how can I serve today? How can I bring more light into the world today? How can I be a little more kind, a little more brave, a little more true today? Commit to doing your inner work, to meditating, to praying, to journaling, to whatever practice helps you stay centered. Make it non-negotiable. Make it sacred. Commit to being discerning, to consuming information consciously, to not drowning in the noise, to trusting your own inner knowing over the opinions of experts, pundits, influencers. Commit to community, to reaching out, to showing up,
to offering help, to receiving help, to building relationships based on authenticity rather than performance. Commit to resilience, to preparing practically, to learning skills, to becoming less dependent on fragile systems and more resourceful within yourself. And commit to joy. Yes, joy. To finding moments of beauty, of laughter, of pleasure, of awe, even in the midst of difficulty. Because joy is resistance. Joy is rebellion. Joy is a high-frequency state that transforms everything it touches. Can you do this? Can you make these commitments? I believe you can. I believe you already are. And I believe that as you do, you will discover that you are not alone. You will discover that there are millions of others making the same commitments, holding the same vision, walking the same path. You are part of a global awakening, and it is beautiful. It is powerful. It is unstoppable. Before I close, I want to leave you with a question. A question for you to contemplate, to journal about, to share in the comments if you feel moved. The question is this: what is the gift you are here to give? Not the gift you think you should give, not the gift that would make you successful or admired, but the gift that is uniquely yours, the gift that arises from your true nature, the gift that the world needs from you, and only you. Sit with this. Feel into it. Do not rush to answer. Let it reveal itself over time. And when you begin to sense what it is, start giving it. In small ways at first, then larger. Trust that the universe will support you as you step into your purpose. And share your reflections in the comments, not for validation, but for connection. Because when we speak our truth, we give others permission to speak theirs. And in this speaking, in this sharing, we weave the web of the new consciousness. And if this transmission has served you, if it has opened something, if it has reminded you of what you already knew but had forgotten, share it. Send it to someone who is searching. Post it where others might find it, not to proselytize, but to offer what was offered to you. This is how the awakening spreads, not through force, through resonance. Now, let me close with a blessing that is also a reminder of what you are and who you have always been. You are not a separate self struggling alone in a hostile universe. You are a fractal of the divine, a holographic piece of the whole, containing within you all the intelligence, all the creativity, all the love that exists in the cosmos. You are ancient and new. You have lived countless lives, and this is your first. You are both the seeker and the sought, both the question and the answer, both the wound and the healer. You are here, now, in this body, in this moment, because you chose to be, because you are needed, because you have something to offer that cannot be offered by anyone else. The world is changing. The old is dying. The new is being born. And you are the midwife. You are the bridge. You are the one who stands between the worlds and says, "Yes, I will serve. Yes, I will stay present. Yes, I will love even when it is hard. Yes, I will trust even when I cannot see. Yes, I will be the change I wish to see." This is your moment. This is your initiation. This is your great work. And I am honored to have walked with you through these hours, through these words, through this transmission. I am honored to have served as a voice, a reminder, a companion on the journey. You are not alone. You have never been alone. and you will never be alone. Walk in peace. Walk in power. Walk in purpose. And know that I, and all the guides and ancestors and higher intelligences that surround you, are cheering for you. We are believing in you. We are holding the vision of your success, your awakening, your fulfillment. Go now. Go and be the light. Go and be the love. Go and be the change. The future is not something that happens to you. The future is something you create, and it begins now. Blessed be.